Hi, I'm Matt, and welcome to my latest tech news video. I will be covering recent tech news in this video. These news videos will generally cover gaming related tech, but also tech and hardware in general. I'm grateful for any feedback, so if you feel the need to do so, please leave a comment below. You can also like and subscribe if you're enjoying my videos. I'll now get into some tech news from the past week or so. In the first two bits of news today, I will be covering two big departures from two companies, AMD and Intel. First up, Scott Herkelman, who is the soon-to-be former Senior Vice President and General Manager of AMD's Graphics Business Unit. Herkelman confirmed that he is leaving AMD in a tweet on September 25th, so recently, a few days ago. I'll put an image up of the tweet. Scott Herkelman has been at AMD for 7 years, since around 2016. The most recent big event he was involved with, as far as I can tell, was the reveal/launch of the Radeon RX 7800 XT and RX 7700 XT at Gamescom this year, back in, I think, end of August. In the tweet, he said that, quote, after 7 years at AMD and launching three increasingly competitive generations of RDNA graphics architectures, I have decided to leave AMD at the end of this year. Godspeed at AMD Radeon. I will miss every single one of you fighting shoulder to shoulder in the trenches together, the excitement we shared during new product launches, and the joy of being in the arena for this wonderful, vibrant industry. May you continue to punch over your weight class and one day beat the final boss. So, big departure from Radeon division and AMD as a whole. Not too much else to say. I wish Scott all the best in whatever he decides to do next, whether that's in the tech space or otherwise. Best of luck to him. Now into the next departure, this time an Intel departure. Ryan Shrout, who was the Senior Director of Client Strategy, Graphics and AI at Intel. Shrout played a big part in the development of Intel's Arc graphics. Following the release of Arc Alchemist GPUs, he was actively involved in driver development, among other things. He is now leaving Intel after being with the company for 5 years, since 2018. As with the previous bit on Scott Herkelman, Ryan Shrout announced his departure via Twitter. I'll put an image up here, where he said, quote, fall is a season for change. Yesterday was my last day at Intel. I'm going to take a couple weeks with the family. Then I'm excited to talk about what's next. So yeah, another big departure, this time from Intel. As with Scott, I wish Ryan all the best in whatever he decides to do next, whether that's in the tech space or otherwise. Best of luck to him. And going by his tweet, we may be hearing from him soon. And yeah, what he might have planned for the future. Now on to some Valve Steam Deck news. I've never used a Steam Deck, but it does seem like a rather impressive handheld device. I don't really game away from my PC, I guess my Xbox, though I could see myself getting one in the future if the need arises. At this point, I'll probably just wait for the next Steam Deck. Maybe by then I might have more of a use for it. I don't know. I do think, yeah, it's a pretty cool device, and I do actually enjoy watching people testing it, games and software on the device, etc., on the Steam Deck. The spotlight actually section of today's video will be a Steam Deck related video. But yeah, so the news is that a new version of the Steam Deck is at least a couple, if not more, years away from being released. Valve's Pierre-Luc Griffet has hinted at such time frame in a recent interview with The Verge and CNBC, I believe. Pierre detailed that they basically want the new Steam Deck to get a significant uplift in performance without having to sacrifice much in the way of battery life. I will quote what Pierre said and put an image up of the quoted text. Pierre said that, quote, it's important to us that the deck offers a fixed performance target for developers and that the message to customers is simple, where every deck can play the same games. As such, changing the performance level is not something we are taking lightly, and we only want to do so when there is a significant enough increase to be had. We also don't want more performance to come at a significant cost to efficiency and battery life. I don't anticipate such a leap to be possible in the next couple of years, but we're still closely monitoring innovations in architecture and fabrication processes to see where things are going there. So yeah, a bit of a longer quote there, but I thought it was good to cover the whole thing. We have some interesting information there. It looks like we won't be seeing a successor to the Steam Deck until at least 2025, late 2025, or even later. I wouldn't be surprised if we didn't see a Steam Deck 2 until sometime in 2026. I understand why Valve want to wait a while longer to get more updated hardware, especially hardware that theoretically should be more efficient. just to go over the current Steam Deck's hardware specs, I will throw up a screenshot of the specs around here. The Steam Deck has a custom, the current Steam Deck has a custom AMD APU at its core. The CPU is Zen 2 based with 4 cores and 8 threads, clocked at 2.4 to 3.5 gigahertz. The GPU is RDNA 2 based with 8 RDNA 2 CUs, compute units, and has a GPU clock of 1 to 1.6 gigahertz. And the APU itself draws around 4 to 15 watts under load, I believe. System memory, or RAM, on the device is shared across CPU and GPU, so the GPU doesn't have dedicated VRAM. And the Steam Deck comes with 16GB of LPDDR5 onboard, running at 5500 mega transfers a second. So if I'm correct, that's 2750 megahertz LPDDR5. So I could be wrong. Maybe it is 500 or 5500 megahertz, and maybe they've got the info wrong. I'm not quite sure. Storage-wise, there are 3 specs: a 64GB eMMC PCIe Gen 2 by 1 model, then a 256GB NVMe SSD, which is PCIe Gen 3 by 4 or PCIe Gen 3 by 2 model, and finally a 512GB high-speed NVMe SSD PCIe Gen 3 by 4 or PCIe 3, again, Gen 3 by 2 model. And each model comes with a high-speed microSD card slot. I have seen videos of people upgrading some of these parts, but Valve does specify that they're, quote, not intended for end user replacement. I'm really, looking forward to finding out what the new Steam Deck runs hardware-wise, as I'm interested in the same for the Nintendo Switch, actually. Switch 2, as it might be called. Both are really cool pieces of, gaming hardware. I know it's a couple more years away, but I can't wait to see the Steam Deck 2 reviews. I'd imagine the next deck will be at least twice as powerful as the current version, and will likely be powered by a custom AMD APU again, although it wouldn't surprise me if they used one of AMD's off-the-shelf APUs. If any more Steam Deck successor details are revealed, then I will likely cover them in a future tech news video. It's all quite interesting to me. Next up, a ChatGPT update to cover. I haven't covered ChatGPT in a while. However, I thought I'd cover it today as there has been a big update to the larger language model AI. I've used ChatGPT a decent amount, though I don't pay for it, thus I'm just using the previous version. I think it's GPT 3.5 and not GPT 4. Can be quite fun to use. I generally just ask questions about like history and science and like nature and animals and things, and just other things I'm interested in, as they can like just scour the internet for questions. I usually ask it something along the lines of, is there evidence for A in the fossil record, or is there evidence that something happened at some point in history, etc., etc. And if I feel that something is a bit odd, I will check elsewhere to back up the information it gives. Sometimes I have to ask again if I feel the answer it gave is wrong or not quite right, and sometimes it will backtrack on what it said with an apology if it has given some information in error, or the information it gave was sort of dubious, I guess. So yeah, it's not 100%, but this could be because I'm using the older version, which I believe is only able to access information up to September of 2021 at the moment. Though I suspect the new version also has some issues, but overall, ChatGPT can, be really fun and captivating to use. But yeah, anyway, back to the ChatGPT update. OpenAI, the company behind ChatGPT, announced a rather big update to ChatGPT 3.5 and 4 on Monday. The update will allow the ChatGPT AI models to analyze images and react to them during a conversation. Also, the ChatGPT mobile app will add speech synthesis, which, when used with its current speech recognition feature set, will allow for a fully verbal conversation with ChatGPT. I don't believe there's a way to do this via PC at the moment. Maybe there is some sort of way you can get it running, but not from what I can tell. OpenAI is currently planning to push these features out to Plus and Enterprise subscribers over the next couple weeks. And as I mentioned, it looks like the speech synthesis option is only coming to mobile, so on compatible iOS and Android devices. Although image recognition will be available on the PC/the web browser version as well as the mobile app versions. It looks like only paid subscribers will get these features, at least for the moment. I'd imagine they could come to GPT 3.5 and in the future, which is the free version at the moment, but I'm not sure. I would like to try the image recognition feature. I think that would be pretty cool. So yeah, quite an interesting update. I'll likely cover more ChatGPT stuff in the future. Hopefully, if people find it interesting. Now for a couple pieces of Intel related news. This first bit of Intel news is about its upcoming Meteor Lake CPUs, which are currently only coming to mobile devices. There has been some speculation that they may get a desktop slash DIY, like socketed, release at a later date, but I don't think anything has been confirmed on that front. And a recent statement by Intel's executive vice president and general manager of the client computing group had people expecting a desktop CPU variant may be coming in 2024, though as mentioned by video cards and confirmed by Intel, this is not the case, at least not entirely. The Meteor Lake mobile CPUs will not only be coming to laptops, but also to all-in-one PCs. So these CPUs are coming to PCs, but not DIY desktops, by the sounds of it. An Intel spokesperson has said to Computerbase that, quote, Meteor Lake is a power-efficient architecture that will power innovative mobile and desktop designs, including desktop form factors such as all-in-one AIO, even though that's usually all-in-one liquid cooling, but anyways, they say AIO. We will have more product details to share in the future. So yeah, these CPUs won't be coming to DIY desktop. If you want one that isn't in a laptop, you can get one next year, I guess, in an all-in-one PC if you like. I'm thinking we may also see them coming to mini PCs, although there doesn't seem to be a confirmation yet of that being the case. But yeah, those yeah would be cool to see reviews on those devices if they eventually do come to mini PCs or even all-in-ones. See how they perform in like gaming loads and things. The next bit of Intel news is a leaked i7-14700KF benchmark. The next Intel desktop core CPUs are meant to be coming at some point in October, likely in the latter half of the month, and now more leaks are coming out for these upcoming processors. This next leak, as I spoke of, is a benchmark of the 14700KF. I will include an image here. In this benchmark, the CPU hit nearly 6 GHz, reaching 5.985 MHz, which is almost the same frequency that the flagship a 14th gen i9-14900K is reported to be able to hit. As mentioned in the TechSpot article, this could be a manually overclocked 14700K, and according to the article, motherboard manufacturers are implemented BIOS tuning options that will allow 14th gen Intel CPUs to push over the 6 GHz mark. The i7-14700K seems to be the only high-end Intel Raptor Lake refresh CPU that will be receiving a bump in E-cores, as it will have 12 E-cores compared to the i7-13700K's 8 E-cores. Due to this, it is looking like the new i7 will be around 17% faster in multi-threaded applications when compared to its predecessor. This is in contrast to the apparent 3% uplift we might see with other Raptor Lake refresh processors when compared to their respective predecessors. So yeah, it would be interesting when these new Intel CPUs finally release, and I will cover them when they release and reviews are out, likely. And yeah, it seems like that is we're looking at at least a few weeks, but yeah, no, I guess not too long to wait to get those 14th gen Intel reviews. Now for a couple bits of AMD news. First is that AMD's FSR 3 is now available to enable in its first game, with that game being Forspoken. I've covered FSR 3 a few times in my tech news videos, and now with Forspoken's latest update, patch 1.22, you can enable it for yourself if you have the graphics card to do so. I will add an image of the update details. Just a quick background on FSR 3 is AMD's equivalent of NVIDIA DLSS 3's frame gen component, with AMD calling it FSR 3 fluid motion frames. These are basically generated frames in AMD and NVIDIA's case, but they do it slightly differently, I guess. Like AMD's previous iterations of FSR, FSR 3 fluid motion frames is compatible with, as expected, AMD Radeon GPUs, but as well as NVIDIA and Intel Arc GPUs, with the game Forspoken specifically specifying RX 5000 series, RTX 20 series, and Intel Arc 7 series or newer GPUs. So yeah, I'd say it's good to see that FSR 3 is finally implemented into a game, although I suspect people are wondering why Forspoken was chosen as the first game to include it. This is because Forspoken wasn't a well-received game at launch, though I have to be fair, it's reviewing better these days, at least on Steam. I think when I checked, it was about 75% of recent reviews, but overall was still mixed, I believe. Yeah, would maybe like to try it at some point, but I'm in no rush to do so. And I just want to say, I think Starfield would have been a much better candidate for the first FSR 3 game, but I guess there are reasons it wasn't. Hopefully they add it into Starfield and many other games, as it seems pretty good. I guess we'll see tech YouTube's testing it out for Spoken soon. That'll be an interesting watch to see how it performs, and we can only hope that it will come to some other games, more popular games maybe soon. The next bit of AMD news is some APU news. Minisforum, who I think is mostly known for their line of mini PCs, has revealed a new 2-in-1 tablet. And what is pretty interesting is that the new tablet will be powered by a Ryzen 8000 Hawk Point APU. I had some images of the device throughout. This device was previously teased by Minisforum about a month or so ago, and has now been officially announced. The device is called the Minisforum V3, and it will feature a Ryzen 8000 APU, which are expected to be refreshed variants of the currently available Ryzen 7040 APUs, which I believe are in some other Minisforum and B-Link mini PCs, and thus will have Zen 4 cores and RDNA 3.5 cores. The new APUs will also have an improved XDNA engine, which will enable improved AI capabilities. As for the other Minisforum V3 specs, the device will have a 14-inch QD Plus display with a 165 Hz refresh rate, quad speaker setup, a 50 watt-hour battery, 2 USB 4 ports, a 3.5mm audio jack, an SD UHS-2 slot, and a USB Type-C DP in only port. Also, it will run Windows 11 as default. The Minisforum V3 also has Wi-Fi 6E and Bluetooth 5.2, a 2 megapixel front camera with Windows Hello facial recognition, and a 5 megapixel rear camera. Finally, the 2-in-1 tablet is scheduled to release sometime next year. I think the V3 looks quite nice. If I was in the market for one, I'd likely consider it. It's also cool to see Minisforum branch out into PC tablets. I look forward to see how the device performs when reviewers get their hands on it sometime next year. Be interesting to see how that refreshed APU performs. I'm always interested in sort of mini PCs and things and checking their reviews out. So yeah, that'll be interesting to watch when they finally come out. Now for some NVIDIA related news. I had covered in a previous tech news video about how the 12 VHPWR or 12 volt high power connector, which is used on some RTX 4060 graphics cards, is being replaced by the 12V-2x6 power connector. This is, I believe, due to some flaws in the 12 VHPWR connector, one notably being the the chance that the connector would melt if not seated correctly, and this damaging damaging the graphics card. And as I also covered previously, the new 12V-2x6 has been spotted, or at least a variant of it has been, on newer manufactured NVIDIA RTX 40 series GPUs, including an RTX 4070, which was spotted with a revised version of the new connector, I believe. New testing, though, of the new cable indicates that the 12V 2x6 connector is more durable than the 12VH PWR. Hardware busters, who I've not heard of before reading this WTCF Tech article, visited the electronics company Linewell, who I also didn't know of before this article, and they were able to test the new and improved power connector. As detailed in the WCCF Tech article, the test was a 50-minute stress test of the 12V 2x6 connector, and the connector delivered 600 watt of power with apparently no issues. The temperature also stayed within the 40 to 50 degrees range Celsius, which I believe is about 100 to 120 Fahrenheit or so. I'm not quite sure, but something along those lines. Even though there were peaks in power delivery of 640 watt. One other benefit is that the new sense pins can detect whether the connector is seated properly, and if not, then it can reduce power output to reduce the likelihood of the aforementioned melting happening. Given how much better this power connector is, the 12V 2x6 over the 12VH PWR connector, it is likely that we'll see it as standard on all next-gen NVIDIA RTX 50 series gamer GPUs at least, and maybe even AMD Radeon or Intel GPUs. It is, though, unfortunate that PCI SIG and NVIDIA didn't implement this connector when the RTX 40 series originally released last year, but at least they've got around to it now. And yeah, this is another thing we may see being tested at some point in the future, so be another interesting type of video to watch. Now, for the newest version of the Raspberry Pi, the Pi 5. Raspberry Pis are very small single board computers which are developed by the Raspberry Foundation. I'll be adding relevant images and footage throughout, including footage of the device, of the announced video. They can be used for all sorts of things: retro gaming, home NAS apps, I believe, as a mini sort of desktop PC replacement as well, or apparently teaching computer science, among other things. I suspect coding and things along those lines. But yeah, they're really cool devices, though I've never used one. I would like to in the future. I just need to sort of have a think of something I can definitely do with one. Maybe a retro emulation machine. But yeah, anyway, the Raspberry Pi 5 has been revealed, and I expect that the Pi 5 enthusiasts, or Raspberry enthusiasts in general, who've been eagerly awaiting the news up on the tiny computer, as it has been around 4 years since the Pi 4 was released, I believe, at least the original version of it. The Pi 5 uses new Broadcom BCM2712 silicon, which I believe is a 64-bit ARM Cortex A76 architecture-based CPU, and is fabricated on a TSMC 16 nanometer process node. Pi 4 was 28 nanometer based for comparison. This CPU at its core is a quad core and can boost up to 2.4 gigahertz, which is 30 to 40% faster than the Pi 4, depending on the model. That ran at 1.5 or 1.8 gigahertz, I believe. System memory, or RAM, has also been uplifted to LPDDR4X, which for comparison is 78% faster than the previous model's RAM. Graphics wise, the Pi 5 has an enhanced Video Core 7 graphics subsystem running at 800 megahertz. I don't really know much about Raspberry Pis, so the GPU specs are new to me. This graphics subsystem supports OpenGL ES 3.1 and Vulkan 2.1, and also has 4K 60 FPS H.265 HEVC decoding / encoding, from what I read. Connection wise, it has a mini HDMI interface that supports up to 4K 60 FPS with HDR support. I believe that might be on 2 monitors. It can support 2 monitors, I believe. A micro SD slot, 2 USB 3.0 and 2 USB 2.0 ports, and a USB Type-C interface for power delivery. I did have a look at some of the places selling them, and they also sell like an official power supply for it. I'm not quite sure how that works. I believe the device does come with its own USB-C power delivery cable, or something along those lines. The Raspberry Pi 5 is releasing in October with 2 base models: a 4GB variant priced at $60 and an 8GB model priced at $80. I did take a look, as I mentioned, and when I took a look, a number of retailers worldwide seem to be offering pre-orders for the Pi 5, though wait times could be lengthy, I noticed, due to the popularity of the device, it seems. When I had a look at some UK retailers, they were if you had ordered a few days ago, I think on the day of announcement, they were going to ship the end of October. But if you order a day or so ago, or today, it looks like it will be late November into December and maybe into early next year. So yeah, they seem to have sold out, at least in the UK, and I guess likely wherever else it's been released. But yeah, they're still available for pre-order, whether you want to wait or not. But yeah, the Pi 5 does seem really cool, and the more I read about it, I was investigating it today, when I was, or it would have been yesterday, the sort of more more actually want one. I may consider finally buying one to test out, as I would like to play around with one and sort of see what I can do, and have like a little retro gaming thing with it, or something along those lines. I have read only brief bits. I haven't looked into it properly, but uh, been able to run PS2 emulation on it, which is quite interesting actually. So I may have a look into getting one at some point, although I'm not too keen on waiting a long time for or waiting into the early new year. So I'll wait, I'll have a look around, and yeah, maybe see how I feel. Or yeah, I may just wait till they're in stock, plentiful stock. Yeah, at some point. Next up is a quick bit of news related to MSI's monitors. A recently leaked roadmap has revealed some unannounced MSI monitors. There are a total of 6 monitor SKUs that have been leaked from what I could tell. Looks like some of these monitors might be revealed this year and some next year, specifically in November and January respectively. But I believe if they do release, they'll be next year. With the later January reveal models being shown off at MSI's CES 2024 presentation in early January. Resolution wise, there are a number of different monitor resolution models, as you might expect. We have 5120 by 1440, which is dual QHD, 3440 by 1440, which is 1440p ultra wide, 3840 by 2160, so 4K ultra HD, and 2560 by 1440, so 2K quad HD. But yeah, all these monitors will feature also a QD OLED tech. So we have the usual sort of suspects on the resolution front. Weird that I haven't seen many 5120 by 1440 monitors before, though it does look like models are readily available when I checked PC Part Picker. Also, refresh rates for each model will vary from 144Hz to 360Hz. Pricing isn't known at this point, as far as I can tell. Pricing wasn't shown on the roadmap. I suspect most of these will be in the higher end market segment, with the lowest priced models being at least under $1,000, but I'm not quite sure. But yeah, I'm pretty sure the higher end ones will be a fair bit more than that. And now the final bit of news for today. I guess it's tech related, but not PC hardware tech, gaming related, more science tech related. And it is the news that NASA's OSIRIS-REx mission has returned a sample of the asteroid Bennu to Earth. The sample, which contained rocks and dust collected from Bennu, touched down in the Utah desert, or Utah desert, don't know why I said it like that, near Salt Lake City. The OSIRIS-REx mission launched back in September of 2016, specifically September 8th. Now the samples will be studied by scientists to give them more information on the makeup of the asteroid, and interestingly, the information may lead to scientists discovering a more successful way of redirecting the asteroid Bennu, as well as others, I guess, and as it may one day enter a collision course with Earth. The chance of this happening is stated at being a cumulative 1 in 1800 chance between the years 2178 and 2290. So a bit way off, I guess. NASA has also said that the sample return will help scientists better understand planet formation and the origin of our solar system, and presumably others too. It should also be noted that OSIRIS-REx mission has been extended, and the spacecraft will now be heading towards another asteroid named 99942 Apophis. Yeah, if that all goes well, likely cover it in the future, maybe. Yeah, just what I've added a few science related tech stuff into these videos in the past, but yeah, would add that in. Hopefully, yeah, you like it. So that's the sort of tech stuff done, tech science, you might say. A bit of the video done. I'll do a quick YouTube video spotlight before I wrap this video up. As I covered the Steam Deck in a news story today, I thought it would be appropriate to include a Steam Deck related video. This is a video by YouTuber Meteor. His channel is Some Ordinary Gamers. In this video, he installs Windows 98 on the Steam Deck and details the process along with issues that came up along the way. So yeah, it's quite a good video. This is the sort of Steam Deck video I enjoy quite a bit, along with the regular game and performance test videos. But yeah, if you're into Steam Deck testing, modding, etc., give it a watch. It's, yeah, as I said, pretty cool video. And yeah, just to say, as always, it will be in the description. So yeah, that's all the tech coverage from me today. If you're interested, you can also check out my game news, which was published yesterday, should have been published yesterday. As always, feedback is appreciated, so go ahead and like or dislike and leave a comment. If you enjoy my videos and commentary, feel free to subscribe. Thank you for watching, and I'll be back again soon.